Okay, welcome guys. We're back again, working on the track. I listened to the track just a little bit ago, and I was actually, I wasn't too happy with what we did yesterday. I mean, we did some good things yesterday, but I went a little overboard with the mixing things and adding distortion and stuff like that, and the CPU was really peaking pretty high as well, so that was a little bit of an issue. But well, I definitely added way too much distortion, so everything was way too loud. I basically removed all of the distortion that I added yesterday, and we're basically back to well, we still have the bass line. It's just it's not good yet. We need to change the bass line today. The notes are nice, but the patch itself is not good enough, or at least it wasn't too well designed. Let's keep it at that. So today we're actually going to be working on the track again. I'm just going to play it for a little bit. Now note that the levels might be a little off right now because I changed some stuff. But we're just going to play this and then we're going to get back into it. So there we go. So that's where we ended yesterday. You can probably hear that I brought the bassline down a lot in volume. We're actually at minus 13 decibels, and that is because the bassline we made yesterday was really loud. I mean, it's good, but it's way too loud, and the levels aren't really that good at the moment. And I just I have a couple of ideas of things we could do today to try and make this a little bit better. I still like the intro. The intro is really good, so we just need to work on the levels a little bit. And the drums are a little bit cleaner now. I removed the distortion, and we need to add a little bit more bass to the kick drum. And let's see if I add a little boost here. I'm actually gonna add a little boost here, give it a little bit more low end, and I'm gonna remove some of those mids, make that kick drum a bit beefier. I like that. That's one thing I wanted to do. The snare is fine for now. Let's just turn the bass off for now. Okay, these levels are right, or at least they sound nice right now. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to add a glue compressor to the entire drum bus, and I'm basically I just want to catch those peaks of the kick and the snare, and now I'm gonna boost on the makeup gain. Until I see this little clip indicator starting to turn red, and then I'm actually just gonna bring it back down a little bit so that I'm absolutely sure that we're pretty much at 0 dB on the end of this channel. Because the drum bus here is brought down to -8, so now I know that my drums are at -8, which is good, and that's a good starting point for me at least. That's what I do every single time when I make a track. I start with my drums at -8, and then I build my mix around that, and that works to give a good level in the end. So that's sitting good right now, and let's just listen to the intro for a little bit. So I can hear that the percussion, the orchestral percussion, is a little bit loud. So I'm gonna bring that down a bit. And this one is also pretty loud. And then we have that weird synth that we made, which is really cool, but it's pretty loud as well. Let's back the saturation off a little bit. Okay, we've cleaned the project up a bit, and that's nice. Now, for the bass that we made yesterday, there's a couple of things that I wanted to show you guys. First of all, I had this pretty long effects chain, right? Which I made, and I mean, we all just had some good fun yesterday making this, but it didn't really turn out too well, I think. It's a little bit too heavy. Well, not too heavy, it's too distorted. It should be heavy, but it shouldn't be this distorted. So I had to bring it down a lot to actually make this sound, well, reasonably okay with the drums. But it's just, it sounds a little sounds a little awful, I think. So what I'm gonna do, and first of all, one thing I wanted to show as well is, remember I had one for the build-up and one for the drop, because I wanted to affect this one differently than the one that I had in the drop itself. Note that I had that really long effects chain, right? That is actually on 2 channels. So this actually, I have this 2 times in my project right now, which is taking up CPU for no reason, because we can now put this on groups basically. So what I should do is take all of these effects and cut them away, go onto the group here, and I'm just gonna put them right here. So that might take a while. Whoa, what the fuck happened? I think we broke Ableton, guys. We broke Ableton 10. Anyway, the bass isn't really too good anyway, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get rid of all these effects. Bam. That's good. And we have the same effects right here. That's actually where that noise is coming from. So I can just take those and drop them on the group here. And that'll give us at least a bit more CPU. Now, I was talking yesterday about a bass that I had in mind that I wanted to make, and I'm gonna try to get close today. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off with Serum again, just like we did yesterday. I'm basically gonna remake the Reese real quick. So let's open Serum. Let's bring this down to octaves. Let's take this clip that we had, because the notes are fine, so we're gonna use the notes. Mono, give it a little bit of a portamento time, and let's give it 2 voices. Quite high detuning. And on the global tab, yesterday I brought it down to 0. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring it up to 10, so we just have a little bit of stereo width in the sound. I mean, this already sounds better, I think. If we now group this one, and in the distortion, what you can do, go to the X shaper, and the kind of distortion that I was talking about yesterday sounds a little bit like this, I think. Now it sounds a little bit crap right now, but just a moment. mean, this is completely dry, there's no effects on it yet. Let's see what happens if we take this effects chain that we had. And I'm going to drop it on this group. Hello, the Terror Jumper, welcome to the stream. From Romania, another European, that's good, welcome. So now we have a little bit of an effects chain on this Reese. And let's just go through them, let's see if it sounds any better. See, that last trash is too much. So I think we can I think we can make this work. Let's try. If Ableton one works, because it's awfully slow at the moment. So on the mid-range, that's better. So this is at least a better, this is a better starting point than that. I mean, it sounds a lot heavier, but it's a bit too much. And we're gonna make this sound more like the other one. But at least we have a bit of a better bass now. I'm gonna duplicate this track. Oh no, I'm not gonna do it yet. Let's do that later. I'm just gonna put these notes in here. I can close that down. We're not gonna use that. And we're gonna call this one main bass. So let's listen to the track a little bit right now. Okay, by the way guys, if you like what you're seeing in this stream, definitely subscribe to my channel, because I'm actually trying to do a lot more streams at the moment, and it's going pretty well at the moment, so let's try and continue at this. And if you want to see more, subscribing will keep you notified when I go live on my channel. Also, if you want to be part of a music production community, then check out the description below this video. There's a link to my Discord server, and in that Discord server you can talk to other producers and talk to me and just well, have a great time and talk about music production. So if that's something you want, or maybe you want to have some feedback on your tracks, check out the link in the Discord in the description and join the Discord server. That'll be a great thing to see you guys there. Now, I'm thinking what we can do at the moment. I actually like that part of the loop the most, so I think I'm just gonna use that part. We'll just do this and that. Let's take this sidechain compressor and let's drop it on this track as well. Minecraft Let's Play. I can honestly tell you guys, I've never even opened Minecraft. So, I mean, I don't play any games anyway, so. Let's see if we can tighten these loops up a bit. This might be a boring process, but it has to be done. Can you do multiple fades at a time? No. Too bad. The Terror Jumper asks, can you make a tutorial for deep basses like Skeptical, Jubei, or others deep D&B producers? Yeah, it's actually just, you know, deep basses is just a matter of having the low pass filter really low and not really, you know, not really bother with any mid-range. Maybe the mid-range, you know, if you're gonna use some mid-range, just have some really light elements, like some really light noise or some Foley stuff, or just a really simple synth. Stuff like that could work. But yeah, for the bass, just keep it low passed. I mean, that's all you have to do basically. I mean, you still have to find a good groove, but that might actually be easier if you don't really have to worry about the mid-range at all. So yeah, just keep it low passed. That's what I would do. Let's get rid of this entire thing. And let's copy this. I'm gonna keep the other one pretty much how it is. That one can go. That one is already really short, so where is my brass? I think we can add like a bit of a reverb to this brass. I mean, there's already a little bit of a reverb in the sample, but I think if we extend the reverb a little bit, it's definitely gonna sound a bit better. See, that's better. Let's try pitching this up an octave and see what just see what happens. I'm thinking whether or not I should repeat this brass hit every 4 bars, or if I should do it every 8 bars and just do something else instead right here. You know, I might want to change the orchestral percussion a bit as well, because Okay, that's definitely better. We need to fill it up with something else though, but we'll see what we can find. What other elements do I have here? I think that's just some background noise. Try to reverse that metallic percussion hit. Which one? The one that actually let's see. This one, the one that makes up that sound. Or are we talking about something else? I really don't know which one you mean. The percussive stab? Which one? That one? Oh, I see which one you mean. You mean like the trailer percussion, this one. That thing. Yeah, but where? I mean, we can try. I mean, we can get rid of most of these anyway, so let's see what we can do then with this. I guess that can work. Just bring the volume down a little bit. And I'm gonna take off that last section so that you know what we'll do. Just bring it down a little bit like that. I guess that works. So we have a really big crash hit here. Did you do a video on that type of bass? You mean the Reese bass that I have in the drop right here and in the build-up? I really just made it really quickly. It's actually really simple. Because all it is, this filter isn't really doing anything. other than taking off a little bit of high end, and we can automate that if we want. But all it is just two saw waves that are detuned, and then in the distortion I have this thing set up in the X shaper, which really does most of the work. I mean, we can oh yeah, I forgot. I did something. I mean, I like that sound on the higher notes, but I don't like it on the lower notes, so I think we should I guess that can work. That really did it, right? That's what I was looking for. So now that's better, and that's much better than what we made yesterday, which was way too distorted. I mean, it's a cool bass, but and yeah, this is actually it sounds pretty cool. Let's give this a little bit of a pitch bend range, and let's add a pitch bend on the end of this. How do you automate the pitch in Ableton? Can I do this in 9? Yes, you can. You just go into a MIDI clip, and then right here, in Live 9, there's a little button right here with a little E on it, which stands for envelope, I think. You just click that, and then it brings up this window, and in here, on the MIDI control, you just select pitch bend, and then you can just draw in your pitch bends. That's how you do it. How else do you thought you were gonna do stuff like that? Yeah, well, you can do it manually with Serum as well, because what it is doing is it is actually controlling this pitch bend wheel right here. Look at, I mean, if I play it, you can actually see that it's just controlling that pitch bend wheel. So it's actually just the same as doing what you were doing, but it's a little bit easier. Hey FadeX, welcome to the stream. I hope you like this. I can hear, I think I hear at least, we have a reverse somewhere. I think it's in the Atmos group, yeah. There's a little click on the end of this. I'm just gonna add a little fade out. That just gets rid of that click. Now I just need to copy these over to there. Let's do that. I think if we take this one and let's raise it to 13 semitones. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to duplicate this track, and I'm just gonna get rid of all those. I'm gonna put them on a separate channel so that we can put some effects on these, so just to make them a bit different from the other brass hits. So I think let's put a ping pong delay on here. Mike asks, is NEUROFUNK the only genre you make? Actually no, I don't make just NEUROFUNK, but at the moment that's what I'm working on because I'm working on a NEUROFUNK EP. But I make other genres as well. I produced dubstep in the past, I produced glitch hop, neuro hop, I've done house music. I've done a lot of stuff actually, but drum bass is actually the stuff that I really like to do the most, so, or at least at the moment. So that's what we're working on right now. Hey, can you show us a sneak peek of the drop? Sure, the drop isn't that interesting at the moment yet, because we're still working on that, but I can show you. I think we were hearing two basses right now. Sorry. So that's actually all the drop is right now, and we are gonna work on that later on. I'm definitely gonna add filtering and some other stuff, but I'm trying to get this intro to sound right. I like that it starts with a little bit of a double hit at the start, so I think we can actually have the detuning pretty high like that without anything going on. Normally it would sound pretty bad, I mean. But I think it works. Let's add a on the matrix. I'm going to add envelope number 2 to the global master tuning. Weird. I recreated that bass, but it sounds nothing like it. That's weird indeed, because I haven't really done too much to it. That's pretty much all I've done now. Oh yeah, of course, I mean, we have all the effects right here. That's right. There's a bunch of effects in here. Without all these effects, it's probably gonna sound nothing like it. That's what I mean, it sounds nothing like it. But I can show you what I did. See, I've just changed the EQ on here just to shape the sound a little bit, and then I ran that through an amp, which is adding quite a lot of distortion. And then we have a frequency split rack. In here on the low band I have a utility just to make the bass mono. And I have a compressor just to make sure that the sub is a good, nice, sustained heavy level. It's not really needed, but I found that it added a good thing. Then on the mid-range I've added the new pedal device, which adds that nice, you know, that additional crunch, that additional dirt in the background. And then on the high layer I just have a chorus, just adding a slight widening effect, and that really changes it. So most of it is actually coming from that rack. And then we have an auto filter with a notch, not really that important, just a little detail. Then we have an EQ8. This one is set to the mid-side mode, so you can see I'm just rolling off a little bit of the high end in both the mid and the side, and I'm removing most of the low end in the side. And then we have another EQ. This is just set in stereo mode, and this just to shape the sound even further, just for a little bit more fine control. And then we have a trash 2, which just adds a good amount of distortion. And that's it. Now there's one thing that I noticed, and that is with these notes like that. I mean, they all just go right up to the last grid line, and that way, I don't know why it happens, but the phase in Serum doesn't really restart properly. So I like to just offset them a little bit. And now the phase actually properly restarts, which is good because that affects the movement of the Reese. So the phase should restart because that way the Reese is the same every single time, and when the phase doesn't restart, the movement will be thrown off a little bit and will be well, not in sync with what I made on the first reset of the drop. So that's a really important thing to do. You should listen to Gydra's new track released on Eat Brain. I haven't heard it yet, but I'll definitely check it out. Just link me in the Discord, man. I'll just post it in the Discord server. There's a right channel for it, and I'll definitely look at it. Maybe I get some inspiration from it. So now I might want to make this one a little lower. I'm actually gonna keep it on the high note, it sounds good. I actually like it without. It has a nice sucking effect, if I have to describe it. And it's probably because there is two rises. Yeah, there are two rises, and one of them stops and the other one doesn't, which is pretty interesting. It's these two. So I like that. Let's try this. to emphasize that a little bit. And there's some kind of a reverse going on, but I'm not sure where. Let's bounce this noise down. Where you're from, bro? I'm from the Netherlands. So I'm just gonna bounce that noise down so that we don't have to deal with the MIDI, and now we can actually just remove the noise from here as well. Yes, we're streaming again, man. Welcome to the stream. So let's see if we take out that hit, or that rumble, because it's pretty much mud anyway. That's better. I'm going to add a little bit of a synth or some pad to the intro. We actually have a pad, I think. It's in Omnisphere. This could work. Maybe an octave lower. Need to turn it on. I'm definitely gonna add a pad there. That's definitely gonna fill that little bit up. It needed some kind of an instrument, but I didn't really know what. Now we're opening up Omnisphere, and that might actually crash Ableton. Let's pray it doesn't. Okay, that's good. Hey ARTFX, where did you learn music theory or sound design, or did you learn it from tutorials? When I started out making YouTube videos, I did it because there wasn't really any good music production tutorial channels on YouTube. It's actually quite a while ago that I started, and I learned pretty much everything by doing a lot myself, just experimenting, and by reading on forums and those kind of things, and just reading audio magazines and stuff like that. When I started out, there wasn't really anything like this. There was no streaming. There was no, well, there were some tutorials, but they were really basic and really just aimed at house music and maybe trance and stuff like that, progressive house. And yeah, other than that, there wasn't really much anyway. I was just a member of a couple of drum and bass forums, and that was it. That was how I was learning all the things, and I pretty much learned everything myself. So I never been to a school for music, so learned everything just by figuring it out. Yeah, just trying things and seeing what happens. And music theory I just learned by looking up on the internet and just you know, reading articles on websites about music theory. And that's pretty much how I learned that. I don't really know that much music theory, I just know the basics of it. And you know, I know when I'm working in a minor scale, I know what kind of notes to use. So let's see if we can find a pad in Omnisphere that works for this intro. So let's open up the patch browser, and I'm gonna sort this on the rating, because I know I'll have a bunch of them that actually sound good. Let's try the top one first. What is the main difference of NeuroFunk track from drum and bass? Is that subgenre of drum and bass? Yeah, NeuroFunk is actually a subgenre of drum and bass. Normal drum and bass would just be well, like commercial drum and bass. I would say stuff like Pendulum, and maybe Sub Focus. Those are some more, you know, some more commercial type drum and bass. And you also have stuff like Goldie, for instance, and DJ Fresh. Those are also drum and bass, and those are really more like the commercial drum and bass guys. Then NeuroFunk is usually the rhythms are the same. I mean, it's still drum and bass, so the rhythms are the same, and it will still focus on respaces and stuff like that. But the sounds are usually a bit more aggressive, and they're a little bit more filtered. So they're usually there's more movement in the bass lines. And then for all the other sounds, like in the intro and stuff like that, and the breakdowns, there's a lot of sound design elements. There's a lot of cinematic kind of sounds, and it's all just a lot more. I don't know, it's a lot more sound design heavy, whereas commercial drum and bass is more, you know, more straightforward sounds that are easier to understand for a listener, and there's usually more repetition as well, whether with Neuro there's usually a lot more variation and a lot more changes throughout the track. It's just a little bit more complicated to produce, but the techniques are pretty much the same. It's just that everything gets processed a bit more, everything gets changed a bit more so that it gets more movement than it would normally have. But other than that, it's just drum and bass. And I mean, the subgenres in drum and bass, there's quite a lot. I hear a lot of producers say that NeuroFunk is the hardest genre to produce. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, every genre can be difficult, but NeuroFunk is definitely one of the genres for me that took me the longest to actually understand how to do it. And I'm still not there yet. I mean, I'm still working on getting this thing done, and the bass is the biggest problem. So, but we're gonna get to that. This patch in Omnisphere, by the way, is really gorgeous. Let me just make all those notes exactly the same level, and just listen to how this sounds. This is absolutely a gorgeous patch in Omnisphere. Well, yeah, neurofunk is just a lot of movement, a lot of it's a lot more heavy on sound design than other drum and bass genres. That's pretty much it, and that includes adding a lot of movement, and that's pretty much what the whole genre is about. It isn't necessarily about the melodic elements, and if you want to do melodic elements, then you gotta do them in the intros or the breakdowns. That's usually what works best. It's pretty much what I'm doing right here. We're working on the intro, and that's where we can do these strings. As you can see, we have a pretty much an atonal first half of the intro. It just sits around the root note. There are a couple of different notes in there, but most of it is just sitting around the note of F. And then in that second half, we're gonna get these strings. And then we can drop it into the build-up. I've got a question. What's the most difficult skill to get? 1. Pure musical skills, harmony, rhythm, or 2. Knowing how Ableton DAW works? I would say the first. Definitely the first. Your musical skill is the hardest to develop. I mean, learning your DAW is just a matter of following a couple of tutorials, reading the manual, and just knowing what every setting is and what it means. And you can learn that in a pretty, well, relatively short amount of time. But getting the actual skill for music and actually getting musical talent, that's a lot more difficult. And that might actually take a while. If you've got the one, then mate, just look up what your DAW does and look up all the settings, and then you should be ready. But maybe you think you know the one, but you actually don't. You're just not really capable of understanding your DAW yet, or you should just learn your DAW first, and then you might realize, my musical knowledge is actually not that good yet. Because that's what I had. I mean, I thought, my musical knowledge is pretty good, but I don't really know Ableton too well. So I started learning a lot more about Ableton, and then you know how everything works, but you still don't come up with good stuff. And then it's like, maybe I should actually work on my music skills and my theory skills, or my arranging skills, my composing skills, stuff like that. And yeah, I don't really know. It's usually a combination of things. It's not really like one or the other. It's usually just a combination of working on different things and different techniques and just improving yourself. That's basically all you have to do. Yeah, there's the 10,000 hour rule, but you know, there's also been so many studies already that disprove that rule, so I don't really mind, or I don't really care about it. Just put in a lot of work and you'll get there. Yeah, indeed, you just have to know both. You have to know your way around the DAW, and you also have to know your way around music. And if you know both and combine them, then you're definitely gonna get to a better end result. So and this leads us back into the root note, which is good, which means we can do could actually try doing a little bit of a melodic first half of the build-up as well. Let's try. Let's see what happens if we start with the strings right off the start. I think this could actually work. Let's take this one out. Copy that, and we should change these notes a little bit. So we're going down to C sharp, which would make this C sharp major. This should be here actually. That gives a nice sound. And then on the end, we need to do a little bit of a chord change. So a little bit of a change in the progression, I think. We can go to F sharp maybe, because we're working in the Phrygian mode. And then we get a major chord here, so that might work. Let's go to F sharp major. Nah, F sharp major is not the right key. So we have this one. Let's see, we have E minor. This is E minor 7, so I'm just gonna make a normal E minor. And we might be able to raise that note. And then here, normally we're going to C sharp major. So what if we go to D sharp? We could go to D sharp minor. I think. So we're really not doing the F minor here, we're so we need to have that note in here, so now it's an F minor. Don't mind these top notes for now, that's just the top melody. So now we can go from F minor to C sharp major, back to F minor, and then we're gonna go to D sharp minor. Doesn't really work either. We can go to C minor. Might work. Let's try major. What if we... This is a major chord. What if we drop down to that one instead? Okay, this will work, guys. I have an idea. Because I'm looking at the chord, and what I'm seeing is that this F note is also part of this next chord. So what we can do is we can just extend the bass note so that it plays this chord but with an F note for the bass, which means it'll still work. And then we're gonna go down. Maybe to C major. That's really nice, because it should be a C minor right here, if we go by the scale. But that C major just sounds a lot more interesting. And then we're gonna drop into the build-up. I think that's actually gonna sound really dope. So we can get rid of these and we can turn this back on. That works for the end. Because I think it'll drop nicely into that F again. Let's try. It resolves nice into the F chord. So I think we have a good chord progression for the intro now. We might have to change some stuff in the intro to make it work. it's definitely gonna lead good into the build up. So we have to change a few elements in the intro to make this work, but this is gonna sound nice. So I think I want to use a different pad though. I mean, this pad is beautiful, don't get me wrong. Where is it? It's in my synths group. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, this sounds really nice. But I think if we go for some contact strings, it'll sound a lot more interesting, because we can actually work with them with the dynamics in that and actually make the strings come in and go back down, and that's gonna give it a lot more interest and a lot more character. So let's open up a new MIDI track, and not in this group. I'm gonna do that in my instruments group. Okay, so we're streaming for exactly an hour and a half right now. How are you guys liking what you're seeing? If you want to see more of this, then definitely subscribe to my channel, because I'm trying to do as much streams as possible, as much as I can with the time I have. And if you want to be part of a cool music production community, check out the link below the description. Check out the link below the description. No, check out the link below the stream. There's a link to my Discord server that you can use to join the server, where we talk about music production every single day, and where you can basically just ask your questions to me or to other producers. And yeah, it's just a great place to be, and I would like to see you guys there. You can also find a donation link underneath this stream, so if you have anything to spare or anything you can miss, it would be a great help. Donations are the thing that keep this channel running, and that's how we gotta live, basically, because the YouTube ad revenue isn't really that good, so every little bit helps. And yeah, if you guys like what you're seeing, then definitely subscribe to this channel. Hey ARTFX, do you use VPS Avenger? They are adding more and more stuff. Granular is the latest. Seems like a proper sound design workstation. No. Actually, I haven't even seen it. I imagine it's like a synth, so I might have to check it out. I haven't seen it yet. I can have a little look. VPS Avenger. Let's see. It's by Vengeance Audio, who also make the Vengeance sample packs. So it's like their new synth, next to Nexus. I'm not too much of a fan of Vengeance, to be quite honest. I mean, let's just see how this thing looks. Oh my god. That's a pain to look at, guys. Sorry, but I don't think I like the layout of the synth at all. I think it's actually quite messy. Yeah, Nexus was made by ReFX, but ReFX is, if I'm correct, actually the same company who's behind Vengeance. So that's probably it. Now, yeah, what to say? I think it looks cluttered, to be quite honest. I mean, it's pretty well equipped with features. That's at least one thing I can see, but it looks pretty cluttered to me. But it might be good. I mean, I haven't checked it yet. I might be a little bit biased because I am used to using Nexus, and Nexus, well, it's good for what it is, but I don't like it, to be quite honest, because you don't have that much control. What's the best synth to start with? Well, the best synth to start with is just the native synths that come with your DAW, because those are usually pretty easy to understand, and they're usually not that complicated. So if you want to get into synthesis, definitely check out some basic synths first, so that you can get a hang of just, you know, just regular subtractive synthesis before you dive into stuff like FM synthesis or, you know, wavetable synthesis or stuff like that. I think it's a lot better to just start with the basics first, and because you can actually get a lot done with just simple synthesis, just simple subtractive stuff, you know, just using a couple of oscillators, one or two, and then using a filter, maybe a couple of effects. I mean, you can get a lot of stuff done that way. So, and I mean, all the other types of synthesis are based around that, so it would be the best thing to start with, I guess. Now I was gonna add a string section, so let's try out Contact. And we're gonna try doing something with a string library. I think I'm gonna use one of the I might actually use the Spitfire Albion library or the Spitfire Mass library. They both sound pretty good. Let's see. I see you using the Live 10 beta. I'm a huge Ableton fan. How is the new wavetable synth and the workflow improvements? Groups within groups, multi-clip editor. Seems really nice. Yeah, I really like it. I've been using the Ableton Live beta version since it came out. And yeah, I've been enjoying it quite a lot, to be honest. The groups within groups is really great. I've been using it a lot already inside this project, you can see that. And the wavetable synth is actually pretty dope as well. I've been playing around with it in the first stream that I did with Ableton Live 10, and well, yeah, it's pretty good, to be quite honest. It's not as complete as, let's say, Serum or Massive, but it's a good native. It's a good native replacement. And thanks Mega Marty for subscribing. No, it's really good native replacement that's very light on the CPU. So if that's what you're looking for, then definitely check it out. So we have this now. Let's take our string or chord progression MIDI clip, and which one should we use? We can use this one or this one. This one is a little bit less on the, I think, at least. I mean, this one is a lot of RAM. I think we'll just go with the this one, the top one. I think that one will be good. Now this might take a little while, so we're just gonna have to wait. Just gonna have to wait for this to load, and this is actually gonna take a while. But bear with me, guys. We're just gonna let's just answer some questions. If you guys have any questions, send me them. Did you buy all of these? Well, most of them I either bought or got sponsored, or I basically just got from friends. I've got a bunch of producer friends that actually do, you know, productions for video games and for films, and you know, some of them actually just because contact libraries are a lot of times, if you have the serial number, you can just use them, you know. So I mean, There are maybe a few in them that are not legit. I mean, not all my plugins were legit at some point. Right now, most of the plugins that I use a lot are pretty much all bought or sponsored. But I mean, when I started out, I wasn't really that rich, to be quite honest. So yes, I have had a few non-legit plugins, but most of the stuff I use these days is actually legit. Now let's just let these samples load and hope that the computer is gonna take it, because this might actually crash the entire thing. Do we have another question? Personally, my favorite part about Avenger is the FFT spectral filter. Can get some pretty warped sounds from a saw wave alone. Yeah, that might be cool. You know, I really don't think I'm gonna get it because I have so many synths already. I don't really think I need another one, because I hardly have use for all the ones I have already, so I think I can get pretty much anything done what I want, so why should I get another synth? But if it's good, then, you know, I might have to check it out at some point. What are your PC specs? I'm running a really old PC, to be quite honest. I'm running a AMD... what is it? I'm running an AMD Phenom 2 processor, which was like the last good processor before AMD went shit. And I mean, they've got some new good processors. I mean, they've got the new Ryzen ones, which are pretty good. But yeah, I'm using an AMD Phenom 6-core processor, which is pretty old, and I only have 6 GB of RAM, so that's why this might be an issue. But it's loaded completely right now, so let's just see how these strings sound. See, it's having some problems. Let's see what happens. Is it good now? Okay, this one doesn't really work. Or at least it will work normally, but my computer doesn't really like it. Let's see. See, it doesn't really like it. Let's get rid of this one. I should have a lighter string patch. Dun, 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 dun. This one should maybe be a little bit better. This one is a little bit lighter. Let's try this one. Yeah, the factory library could work, but I'm not sure if the factory library has all these dynamic controls that these libraries have. And that's actually what I want to use this for, because that way we can really automate it and really get some nice stuff going. I mean, we could do it with some volume automation, I guess, on the factory library, but let's see. if this one will work, and if this one doesn't work, we'll just go for the factory library, or we might even just go for the Ableton stock synths and just tweak those. Or we can tweak the Omnisphere patch, that's another thing we could try. But let's just try this one first. This one might actually work just fine. Bye Oxids, thanks, and I'm just gonna continue the stream. If you want to look the stream back when you're back home or whatever you're gonna do, you can check out my channel. I'll upload this stream to my channel, so if you don't want to miss anything, check that out. So let's see how this one sounds. It's still loading, so we're just gonna let that load for a bit. And I think I can turn this one off to save some CPU, so it's not playing that clip. Now this one is really loud, but that's because we haven't done any automation yet. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add some real quick automation on the modulation. So let's just do that for a moment. We will change this later on, but